Welcome back to After the Snap. I'm your host, Tasha Pierce. It's been a while, but this time I'm not alone. I brought a friend with me. This is Clarence. He is one of the hosts of Discussing Trek podcast, amongst other activities online.
Yeah.
Say you can say
Hey,
hello to my friends out here, Mr. Brown.
how you doing? Hello, Snap Nation. What's up? Happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you. So today we're going to have a live stream discussion. It's good. We're live, so I guess if we get some more people in here to really have a true discussion on the future of Star Trek, but we can't talk about the future without talking about the past. We have to start it off with where we started and where we're going. So that's the type of show we're going to have here today. Clarence, I want to know, which was the show that started it off for you? When did you
Oh man,
start liking Trek?
this is funny for me. So I will say I may have had a crush on Troy in her bodysuit back in the day at TNG, but I didn't really watch. I just peeked in to see what was going on. I didn't really watch, and I think I really got into Star Trek or cut my teeth on Voyager. That's the one I started at the beginning and watched as much as I could as it aired, and eventually, caught up when I could. Thanks to my parents getting Dish Network in the mid '90s and UPN. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
coming in on
Voyager
Voyager.
and
Yeah, coming in on
listen, of course,
Voyager DS9. I'm sorry, I think we're in the delay. But Voyager DS9 coming in on that, and eventually, backfilling my catalog, going and watching as much DS9 as I could again. Once I got UPN, kind of caught that midstream. But
right.
thanks to BitTorrent in the early aughts, a little sketchy, but that's how I caught up on DS9 and eventually Netflix, and then Bob's your uncle.
Now, look, I watched a lot. I've been around for a little bit longer than just a little bit longer than Clarence, though. But I've been around a little bit longer, and so we would watch the reruns of the original series when it went to syndication. Well, it had to be. I wasn't born when it first came out, so but it was constantly playing in syndication throughout my youth, and I've told the story of how my parents used to try to use that to make me go to sleep, and eventually I just started watching it, and I liked it. So, but I never watched it in order and was able to see like how things went in order until, of course, we get to video or DVD days and Netflix days where we could
Yeah,
just
yeah, for
watch it
sure.
from beginning to end. So I never was able to see how things got better or worse over a series. And I like it was a whole bunch of episodes of Next Generation and
Yeah.
DS9 that I had never seen because I would always be doing something when that one would be playing. So it was like I started with the old stuff, and even some of that was brand new to me after we started being able to watch it on DVD and Netflix on demand.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny that, if not for I guess the DVD box sets and eventually Netflix and things like that, how you probably could never watch a whole contiguous series or season. So
Right.
I remember my first big DVD purchase was buying the Star Trek Voyager season 1 box set. It set me back like 120 or something to that effect. But
Right.
man, I cherished that thing.
And now let me ask you this. You said you watched a lot of that as it was rolling, as it was coming out.
Yeah.
But did you still find stuff that was new when you finally got your box set of the first season and after that?
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely episodes that I missed, because it's appointment television, which we don't realize
Right.
today or even adhere to today. But if you missed it, you just missed it, and hopefully you can catch it in syndication
Yep.
or a rerun.
Right.
But certainly there is a number I missed, especially once I moved to college and had a roommate, and I didn't have the time or space to just watch what I wanted when I wanted.
Yep.
There was definitely episodes I missed that I had to go back and catch up on and try to find. But thank goodness for the internets
Right.
and being able
Who
to find
knew?
things online. Yeah.
Right. Who knew that it would be this accessible at any, at any point in time that you want to watch it? It's
Yes.
there now.
Yes.
So do you think that?
Which
Go ahead.
yeah, I was just going to add, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. I'm going to
That
have to
is,
get your
you read
opinion
my
on it.
mind. That was what I was about to ask you. Do you think that that there could be an saturation of what we want when we want it?
Mm, as far as Star Trek is concerned, I don't think so specifically. And I'm going to say that because now it's to the point where you have to seek out Paramount Plus, or you might catch it on
Yeah.
some of the other channels, maybe BBC America or something. But you have to really. It's kind of a bad thing for Star Trek, in my opinion, is because it's not really syndicated as much,
Right.
other
Nobody's
than
gonna
BBC
stumble
America.
on it.
Yeah, so you have to actually go and seek it out. So there may be a whole generation of people that aren't even seeing it or aren't even just aware of it.
Now, there is that one play like Pluto. Pluto
Yep,
has a couple of they do DS9 and TNG. Is that
yep.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have a Star Trek channel on there. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe somebody might stumble across it there, but yeah, you're right. If there is a lot of missed opportunity because now you got to pay to play.
Yeah, pay to
Um,
play, certainly.
so yeah, well, what I'm going to set up here is where we started with Star Trek. I'm going to go ahead and add this to the stream. Where we started and where we're going, and we know that way back in 1966, we had Gene Roddenberry's vision of uh, this universe, and that universe turned out to be the original series, and it kicked the door open and broke barriers in a million different ways. But when you think of, okay, now knowing what we know now about history and where we were when this series began to air, how do you what in what ways do you feel like was the biggest way uh, it broke barriers?
Certainly for me, and again, this being Black History Month, um, going back to when I first got into Voyager, and then seeing, oh, DS9 has this black guy as running the show over here. So that's one of the things that instantly drew me to that show. So I think you can everyone that's in the Trek can say it's all about the diversity of the show, even though lately seems like in some segments of the fandom that's been an issue,
Or
or
spot, but
people,
yeah,
yeah, when it's not the right character they want, or the right gender character they want in a
right,
particular position. But I think if you look at the core of it, and what Star Trek actually is, it's all about that infinite diversity among its cast members, among the crew and Starfleet, and the Federation as a symbol of bringing different types of people together.
yeah, I can agree. And just like you said, I mean, the obvious one for me is Nichelle Nichols, she stands out because in that era, that shouldn't have been happening. She should not have been on that bridge, even though
Yeah.
they didn't give her a lot to do initially.
Yep.
She was on the bridge. She was an officer on the bridge, and that was enough. But it didn't occur to me until later that you also had an Asian person on the bridge, like,
Yep.
and we also had a Russian on the bridge. So
Yeah.
it's like there were a lot of people that in that time period were not supposed to be there. And it goes to somebody being uh, having the vision to see a time where all of these petty things that we use all of our external or what country we were born in or
Yeah.
what how we appear, all of those things at some point will be tossed to the side and will just be judging a person by their abilities, by the content of their character, basically. uh,
Yeah. It,
and
it, and just to add, there were plenty other black people or people of color on the show that just would pop in now and then. Dr.
yeah,
Daystrom,
yes,
even though he's kind of a villain in an episode, he's still an important part of Trek that
exactly.
goes
You got
on
an
even today.
entire institute named after this character.
Yes.
Yeah, he lost his mind at the end, but he was
Yes.
pivotal enough to the universe that we have the Daystrom Institute, and we're still hearing about the Daystrom Institute
Yes.
now. So yeah, I agree. There are other ways, of course, that Star Trek has contributed besides inclusivity, but that is the first thing that most people will think of because it was jarring in 1966 for that to even be a thing, for there to be a Russian. It sounds like a bad joke about the star. We got a Russian, an Asian, and a black girl on a starship. But yeah,
Oh
but it
boy.
turns out that they touched a lot of lives, and even people who didn't realize that they were becoming less divisive because Star Trek was loved by so many people, and it becomes a surprise to so many people that it was making social commentary even then.
Yeah, certainly.
We got some other ways that Star Trek has yeah, affected society as a whole, I guess. And I've got all these little banners prepared, and I won't ever hit them. So let's just say Trek's effect on society. We got, for me, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to think of more than these four. We have its effect on sci-fi and pop culture. Well, I guess those are two separate things. So sci-fi, pop culture, tech, and inclusivity. Those are the things that I can think of. Can you think of any more?
um, I'm sure there. Well, not off the top of my head, but I would like to dive into tech just a little bit because
Okay.
that's kind of. But just yeah, I think it comes from the ability to imagine what things could be, and
Mhm.
certainly we look at the data pads and iPad now, and there's other sectors of tech that have kind of oh, there you go, you have a slide for it, that have
Yeah,
kind of
just
copped
some of them.
off of what we've seen in Star Trek, and of course some of those ideas in Star Trek weren't unique to Star Trek, but that's where we saw it probably for the first time on the big
Right.
screen. And there you go, communicators, and having this computer in your pocket now, just like
Right.
a
A
tricorder or
supercomputer.
whatever. Yes, yes. So I think for me, other than the idic, I definitely the tech side is what kind of draws me to the show, and to see that expand and changed in different series, and the
Right.
evolution of that throughout each of the series.
It kind of like now I'm not as techy as you, but that's why I said I'm going to talk about tech because I know that you will have more to add in that department. Now, but communicators, voice activated devices, virtual reality, or AI, my introduction to all of these concepts was pretty much Star Trek. You
Yes.
know, does it bother you? And this is like me going off on a tangent. Does it bother you now when you see, okay, for instance, Prodigy? Prodigy is
Mm-hmm.
set in the middle of two periods of time. Now we have Voyager ending, right? We have Voyager ending and Discovery going into the future. Does it bother you that they have these vehicle replicators and the such, and we have not seen those things show up in Discovery?
Kind of, but I think they've almost supplanted that a bit with the nanotechnology in Discovery in
Yeah.
31 whatever we're in. But yeah, it is. They have introduced some things we haven't seen, and that's maybe one of my only issues to where we are in current Trek in the timeline. I guess between the late 20 2080s. No, I'm wrong. Yeah,
23.
2080s. No,
Mhm.
3080s to 400. I'm getting lost on the time frame here.
You're talking about what's
What
this,
what
like the
time frame are we
23
are current? Do you know what time frame we currently are in Trek?
for what's the name of it? The old stuff or for going into the future with Discovery?
Yeah, I know Discovery's in the 3180s, I believe.
3100. So I think it's 2380, the 2380s or something like that for Prodigy.
Yes. So
Picard.
that time
I think
frame,
Picard would be in there too, right?
yeah, I think Picard is at the latest of where we are in the timeline, right before Endgame. because Endgame kind of jumps up. So I think Picard is like a year or two before where Endgame is. And I
Okay, I'm
think
trying to.
Prodigy is like maybe 10 to 15 years before that.
It's
So
yeah, it's
so
got to
that's one
be.
of the things that currently confuses me in Trek is where we are. And certainly when you look at the
What the
tech,
the,
certainly when you look at
the
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 tech, you
start
have to
date.
kind of, yeah, the star dates. And then you look at tech, where that tech falls in that and trying to line it
Right.
up with where we're going in Trek as well. But Picard certainly introduces a lot of different technology that we haven't seen before. Like maybe when they're doing that investigation in that room where that murder occurs, and they kind of recreate the investigation. There's a lot of virtual reality
Oh yeah,
kind
yeah,
of,
yeah.
yeah. So they do introduce some things, but yeah, the tech kind of. I wish that was a little more. There's a
Cohesive.
better way to understand what's going on with that.
Where you're right, where we're supposed to be. Where what should we expect going across series, right?
Yes, yes.
I'm still looking. So Star
You
Trek
looking for the
Voyager was
timeline?
2371 to 2378, and Picard is 2399.
Yeah,
That's
twenty three
further than I
ninety
thought
nine.
it was. I didn't think
Yeah,
it was that far.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
didn't know that until I looked it up. So 2399, and season 2 is in 2401, and they're
Okay.
saying that end game takes place in 2404. So it's
Okay.
like,
So
yeah, with the exception of a few future episodes like the Visitor and the Enterprise episode, Azadi Prime, and the
mhm,
Relativity episode, I think,
it's
as well. Uh,
it's the furthest.
yeah, yeah. So it's kind of spattered in between there and Discovery. I'm
I
sorry to get us off on a tangent.
no, no problem. This is fun. Because it is going to make me figure out something that I didn't think about figuring out. But okay, but going back to the technology, have you been hearing that they are? And I need to watch the video. There's a guy named Simon Whistler, and I listen to. He's got like 1,000,003 channels on YouTube, and I probably get him paid quite a bit because I watch all his stuff. He has one series that he does talking about what's his name, tractor beams, and he says that
Hmm.
we might have uh, created the technology to use it as use a tractor beam, and he asked those types of questions. How far away are we from replicators? And
Hmm.
do you think any of this other tech, this kind of super futuristic
Far out.
stuff, in our lifetime or no?
Maybe not in our lifetime, but honestly, if you would have asked me in the 90s that we'd have something that you can just talk to and it would like go search and give you back information, I would have said that's
Right.
impossible, you know?
Can't
Or a
nobody think of
computer in
that.
your pocket.
Especially with big ass computers
Yeah. Yeah.
from back in the day. Yeah, it would have been hard to imagine that that would be in your pocket. So I can agree with that. Hi, Betty Confetti. Welcome to the show. Um, what was I going next? Okay, so we talked about the Trek effect on technology. It's going to be a big surprise to me. Also, what's next? Because I don't know where to put my next line. Oh, it's on space exploration. Space exploration.
Hmm.
Um, it has definitely had an effect or had influence on space exploration because we're trying to see if this fantastical stuff that they have imagined could possibly be out there. Um, we have more engineers and scientists who cite that they were influenced by Star Trek. So those are things that are part of the Trek effect to me. As far as space exploration goes, we got what NASA. What's the other one? SpaceX and what's
You
the
got
other?
Blue Origin, the
Blue
Bezos
Origin.
thing, and what's the Virgin Galactic as
I
well.
forgot about them. That's
Yeah.
who is that? Virgin is
It's what's the Richard Branson, I think is the guy's name.
Branson. Okay.
Yeah, so you have definitely the private sector has given space exploration a boost recently, uh,
Yeah.
for sure. And the thing I like about Trek the most is is getting giving us the opportunity to dream of like where we could be,
Yeah.
getting people interested in trying these things, spawning engineers and astronauts or whatever that are trying to make these things a reality. And I think just the aspirational point of that is probably the one of the biggest things that Trek has given us.
Yeah, and I can completely agree with that because uh, at one point, you would think astronaut astronaut is man. I can remember,
Mm.
gosh, I can't even think of Guy in Bluford. If I might be saying his name wrong, but I met him when I was in like the second or third grade. He was an astronaut, and he was like, it was such a big deal. He came to our school. This is a black astronaut.
Yeah.
Wow! And now it's like right now we're getting ready to send a black woman, to,
Yeah.
to space. So it's like uh, he made me, even though I had no aspiration at any time to be an astronaut, he made me realize it was possible.
Yeah.
So that type of representation alone, just seeing that it could potentially be done, is enough to I guess inspire young people to for the next phase or a step in their life. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
and it's
think
also one of the few things in this world that like pulls nations together. Now we do have a whole layer of that. That's the space race with satellites and espionage and all this
right.
other stuff. But on the exploration part of it, I think it is done well with pulling different nations together to trade some technology. We're not going to trade the best technology, but trade some technology in the quest to venture out.
And I ask myself, okay, like even the ones that are out there in the on the space station, we got the Russians and our whatever the space stations. We share that little area, and I wonder, like, if there's no bad blood out there. They out there eating together, and of course they have different marching orders, but I feel like they get along better up there
Yeah.
than they probably ever would down here.
Yeah, at least in real life. There's two shows I've been watching. Of course, For All Mankind, not to get off track too much, but For All
Okay.
Mankind, the Apple TV Plus show, which is amazing, but it's kind of the space race. And things don't always go great when they're in space. I'll just say that much. And there's another one, which is just a zany, over the top called Space Force, which is on Netflix. I thought I would
I
hate that
watched the
show.
first season or first couple of episodes of that. I think that's the one with Steve Carell.
Yes, it's terrible, but I couldn't stop watching. I couldn't stop watching. And of course it has Ensign Mariner, Beckett Mariner
Yeah,
from Lower Decks is in it. Tawny Newsome,
yeah.
and that's part of the reason I watched it. And she has a great moment in the first season, which
I think I started watching it. I didn't finish, but yeah, I stumbled upon that Space Force thing myself. Did they get a second season?
no, I think the second season is only like it's not even 10 episodes, so I think it may
Okay,
have gotten canceled. I'm not sure.
that's the astronaut that I'm talking about. He wasn't that old then, of
Yeah.
course, but I wasn't either. So, but yeah, he when I met him, I'm telling you, I I literally had stars in my eyes. So yeah,
Oh man,
the
that's
influence
amazing.
of of a person who that kind of looks like you doing something big in a little girl's eyes because I was
Certainly.
a little person then. But moving on, we go. I think. Oh no, I was going to ask you. Is there uh any other things besides exploration, engineers, the scientists, as far as space exploration goes? Get your thoughts if there was
Hmm.
anything I missed.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a technology in space exploration that's kind of been spurred on by Star Trek. I might have to dig a little deeper because I can't think of
You
nothing
know,
right off
you know,
of my top of
you
my
always
head.
thinking like me, dude. because that would be our scientific advances.
Yeah.
And among them is faster than light travel, uh, AI, which is starting to get crazy
Yeah.
with this AI. This AI can do so much.
Yeah.
Um, ET's extraterrestrials, we're starting to see that they might not say these are extraterrestrials, but they are acknowledging that there are unidentified aerial phenomenon. We need to know what this stuff is in our airspace.
Yeah.
Um, One of the things, even today, and I just before you and I started, I got a notification on the phone. I hit the button. It says the military, the Pentagon says that there's a spy balloon over Montana the size of 3 football fields. It was something
What?
weird. And I'm like, a Chinese spy balloon appears over Montana, right in the middle of the United States. How did it get there? You know,
Is this
and
real?
let me get my,
Oh my
I have to look it
god.
up over here
That's
because
crazy.
I'm telling you, it came up as news. Let me look. Chinese spy balloon. Okay. I know it does. It sounds crazy. The Pentagon, this is 13 minutes ago. The Pentagon is tracking suspected Chinese spy balloon over the US. You can't tell me that. This is like,
This is the Associated Press really. I'm looking at it on my screen.
yeah.
What?
The US is tracking a suspected Chinese high altitude surveillance balloon over the continental United States. The Pentagon has been tracking the balloon for several days. So you just let it
Wow.
just stay there, huh?
Wow.
As it
Is it
made
lurking
its
over
way over
Bozeman,
the northern
Montana?
United States.
It's lurking
I'm
over
trying to see,
Bozeman to
like,
see if we're creating some Star Trek stuff.
right. Oh, they said we are confident that this high altitude surveillance balloon belongs to China.
Wow.
I'm trying to see where they said how the size of it. I've lost where it said it's the size of 3 buses.
That is
So you mean to
crazy.
tell me that you all allowed this spy balloon that you guys say it's Chinese to just stay in the air, and you knew it was there, and it's spying, to just stay there? You didn't try to shoot it down. So it kind of makes me feel real Roswell-ish. And you know how it started off, oh, it was a spaceship, and then they turned the story, oh no, it was a weather balloon. And that's the excuse they use for every unidentified aerial phenomenon since. Oh, it was a weather balloon. So now we're getting spy balloons. Do you think
Yeah, that's
that they're
crazy.
lying to us at any point? No. Do you think it really is a spy balloon, or do you think this is something they can't name, and they don't want to get people excited?
Yeah, it's a wonder they didn't, because usually they would. I would think they would just say it's an unidentified flying object, just to not scare people by saying it's a
It's a
Chinese
spy
weather
balloon.
balloon or fly spy balloon. Yeah,
A
so the fact that
Chinese
they
spy
said that,
balloon
yeah, the fact they said that kind of worries me a bit.
is more scary than what like, yeah. It's more scary than saying we're not sure what it is.
Yeah, jeez.
But I honestly believe that these people lie to us. And do I believe that we have been contacted by alien beings, extraterrestrial beings? I can't say that I don't believe it. I can say I'm agnostic on it. I'm not
Hmm.
100% sure one way or the other, but I definitely don't believe the story that the United States government is giving us about these unidentified aerial. I'm using their new word or their new term, this unidentified aerial phenomenon. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% believing them, but I'm also not ready to put on the tinfoil hat. So it's one way or the other. Something is out there, and they can't explain it. And you have credible sources saying, I can't explain it. And
yeah,
I believe that when the government says, oh, it's easily explained, I don't trust them.
yeah. You would think if at any point in time, with the prevalence of cameras and smartphones, that it would be almost impossible to hide something that big. So we'll
Right.
see. We'll see.
Exactly. And that's the part of it that makes me not want to sign on to it's an alien. It's a green or what are they called? The grays or the because we all have supercomputers in our pocket right now, and we should be able to capture these things. So yeah, I agree with you on that. But again, it we're looking for it as far as and as we're looking for it because of Star Trek. I'm not sure that this era of people are ready for contact with with extraterrestrial life form. We would I think our first instinct would be to kill it.
Yeah.
What what
No,
what
I
do you
agree.
think? Yeah,
I, yeah, it happens. All the movies give us the example of what would probably happen.
we sitting here we talk about Bigfoot, even though again I've got my foot in the conspiracy theory door, but we talk about Bigfoot, and most people their first instinct is we are hunting Bigfoot. Why? If Bigfoot has been out there and ain't messed with us in all these years, why is it your stance is I'm gonna go and hunt Bigfoot? So if you're talking about hunting things that's right here, they would definitely more than I can believe without a shadow of a doubt that they would kill an extraterrestrial being before they even heard the message that this person came with. So and the universe, we're finding out that the universe is far more vast than we thought. I mean,
Yeah.
and I don't know how that can be a thing. How does something that spreads to infinity get bigger? So yeah, and
Beyond the
all of that,
galactic barrier.
right? Gonna go and find out that it's some people on the other side of that barrier that we're gonna have to do some math to talk to.
The type of way.
Right. Oh
Oh
my
boy.
goodness. And then the Trek effect simply on sci-fi movies and TV. And this is just off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure that there are far more shows that have been influenced, shows and movies that have been influenced by Star Trek. But the ones I can think of, we know Battlestar Galactica, Firefly, Farscape, Babylon 5, Stargate. This is one I just picked up off the internet, Space Above and Beyond. I don't even know what that one is. You know what
I
that is?
semi remember that.
Oh, okay. The X Files has been influenced in many ways. The Orville, Star
Certainly.
Wars, and the Orville did you continue to watch the Orville?
Yes, I didn't love the Disney season of it.
You
Uh,
didn't like this last episode. I mean, this last season.
I didn't like it. It to
Oh
me it
wow.
strayed away from the Trekness of the um self. It still has self-contained stories, but to me it tried to do more of a Discovery style
Yeah.
arc than the happy little stories we were getting in the first few
Yeah,
seasons.
I can agree with that. We got the season long. We got this thing that's tying everything together.
Yeah.
And while that's one of the things that I like, I kind of like that. I can see how it would be it could put people off who are used to the first the way they originally were shooting the Orville.
Yep.
So okay, so we got the Orville, we got Star Wars, Galaxy Quest, The Expanse, Andromeda, Spaceballs. I can't think of anything else right now. You got any?
I'm sure there's more. I can
I'm putting
Yeah.
you on the spot.
Oh man. No, I can't
Yeah,
think of any right off the top of my head,
yeah.
but
It,
certainly those, and man, I'm sure there's more out there.
it's got to be. And look, that's a lot.
It
Of
is.
course, we're talking about in what over 50 years, but still, that's a lot
Yeah.
of influence that you could say one series has had over 60 years.
Yeah, certainly. Certainly.
What was my last thing about? Oh, then we go to the spinoffs. What is the next generation of Star Trek? So all of that we talked about was all just going back to the original series of Star Trek. And the original series of Star Trek did spawn a lot of spinoffs, like a lot.
Yep.
So we got the next generation. You say your fave is Voyager?
Yes. Yes. Of that
So
era, of
yes.
the
And
'90s,
I think
early aughts era.
yeah, I think mine is of course DS9, which I wish they would go ahead on it and make that like with the high definition. They need to remaster it. Is that what they
Yeah.
call it?
Yeah. They need to. Yeah.
Because
Remaster.
yeah, it's not as pretty as the other ones. I want it
No.
to be very pretty.
That or Discovery. They were shot. I don't know if they were shot on some different type of film or something, but also the fact that they had a lot of computer effects. I think that makes the remastering a bit harder.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are definitely due for some type of conversion because they have not aged particularly well.
Oh, Betty, you this is Clarence. Clarence is, I'm sorry. Clarence is one of the hosts of Discussing Trek, which is a podcast that I've been listening to since right before Discovery started. So I've been a fan for years, and now I can say, this is my friend in Trek. So I'm very I recommend his channel, Discussing Trek, and also all of the Discussing Network. They have a whole network of podcasts. So I do honestly, and I'm not just saying this because this man's sitting here. I honestly tell you that they have good commentary, and it's something that you can listen to in front of your children. Unlike me, because my mouth get a little testy sometimes. You can really, yeah. It's a good show, and we will. I had it to go across at the end, but I guess I can put it up now so people will know exact, because I don't we don't
Hey,
have our
Betty, nice
names
to
up
meet you.
here. That's why she don't know who it was, because the names wasn't on there. Sorry.
It's fine.
But yeah, Betty, subscribe to his channel and on YouTube. He's starting to do his streams
I'm
on
trying to get
YouTube as
back
well.
into it. You are prolific. I'm trying to be like you on YouTube.
We need to be like each other. I need to get a little bit more consistent with the podcast side of things, but we digress. Um, we got some beautiful spinoffs.
What is your
Starting
favorite? What is your favorite of the
Deep Space
'90s?
Nine.
Deep Space Nine. Okay,
Yeah,
DS9, no doubt.
yeah.
Solid pick.
And I can't 100% even tell you why, besides the fact that I do like the aspect of it being where the action is coming to them most of the time. It's
hmm
We are stationary. You're going to be
hmm
on Deep Space Nine. Now, what is going to come to Deep Space Nine today to kind of ruin Cisco's day
Yeah, that's
or
true.
make it better? I also like the way the characters that we had gotten to. I guess we didn't really get to know them enough on TNG. We see O'Brien carry over and have a
Yep.
true arc, and
Yes.
Worf with a true arc. Um, I enjoyed the friendship, the kinship between O'Brien and Bashir in a
Yep.
period of time where men really weren't that open with being that close together.
They
You know,
definitely had
they
a romance.
Yeah, they had a bromance, and it wasn't, you know, it wasn't what people would make it to be now. They were just
Yeah.
really great friends. And yeah, Jadzia kicked down doors with being what most people would call now gender fluid, or
Yeah.
so yeah, it was just a lot that I would not have thought of then, and I really liked the show then, but I really like it even more now. um, that it is showing a little bit. It's showing inclusivity that we are struggling with today. Yeah.
So how do you feel that inclusivity in the '90s era compares to what we're getting in New Trek? Is it at the same level? Are they pushing the boundaries way further in the new stuff. How does
See
it fit
now,
with you in comparison?
um, now let me see. She said she wants your link before you go. Can you answer comments on here? Let me see.
No, I
Nope,
don't
it's
think
just
so.
me. Is it this discussing Trek?
Just discussingtrek.com.
Oh well, shoot. Betty Confetti, you gonna write that down, baby. DiscussingTrek.com. Okay. Now I feel like we're getting bludgeoned a lot of times with the message. You see how even talking about Bashir and uh, uh, O'Brien, that
Hmm.
was a subtle thing. You saw them being great friends, but now you like, they were really open with one another, and that was different than what we would normally typically see in a male friendship. But
Hmm.
now it's like wind up, they got a bat, they ready to beat you upside the head with this message. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's too much. You know, most of the messages that we got in Trek have been subtle until they weren't, and
Yeah,
Discovery tries hard.
yeah, but I wonder for the people watching it at the time, did it feel like it was beating them over the head? And that I can't again because I didn't watch DS9 during that time. It I wouldn't know how that felt to the people watching it then. Like for Voyager, for me, I just thought Captain Janeway was a woman running the show. I had no difference to think bad about it, or I just thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
you know,
And then here
uh,
people have a problem with, and when Voyager was running. The first time you let a woman run a ship, they get lost. That was what you would hear then.
oh Lord,
So yeah, I can agree that some people were picking up on it, and some people
yeah,
were not even realizing they were getting the message, because as we move down a couple of more slides, we start talking about social commentary that some of the people refused to accept that was there from the beginning. But I've
yeah.
I've got a few examples of episodes that were ahead of their time, or at least ones that would make you think.
Hmm.
So let me see. So we got all of our spinoffs. Your favorite is Voyager. Mine was DS9. However, Strange New Worlds and Prodigy are kicking the door down with with trying to be my favorite Trek. They're
So
trying to
that's your
be they're
favorite.
trying to replace my favorite Trek.
So those are certainly your favorite new Trek, right?
Yes, absolutely. Because
Hmm.
when you go into let me see the spinoffs, the live action spinoffs, Strange New Worlds is the gold standard. Everybody
Boy.
now, Picard, and anything that comes after this, they really need to be trying to not 100% model their their stories and and the way they shoot these and their actors and the way it's written. They don't need to 100% model, but they definitely need to look in their direction and see all the things that they're doing right, and
Yeah.
try to apply that to the rest of Trek.
So I'm gonna certainly say Stranger Worlds is probably the best new Trek, in addition to Prodigy. But I'm
Mhm.
gonna say Discovery is still my favorite. And the reason I'm gonna say that is I think it's the one that's making the boldest choices. Now, those choices also lead us to be divisive about the content that they create, but
Right.
I do love them taking the stab at pushing the boundary of
There,
what
yeah.
Trek can be. And certainly you look from a big budget production standpoint, that was the gold standard for these other shows that we have.
Right. It was
So
beautiful.
I love that. It frustrate me at times? Yes. Would do I wish they would move a bit away from the tentpole season arc and become a bit more like a Strange New Worlds or 90s Trek? Yes. But again, super polished, super well produced. I believe in Michael Burnham. Uh,
Yeah.
and you know that the first two seasons, even if you aren't into the Klingons and the story they were telling, and maybe it ended kind of weird in season 1, but season 2 is gold. Season
Yeah,
2 is gold.
I truly season 2 they swung for the fences and they kind of knocked it out the park.
Yeah. And
Season 3,
it's essentially Stranger World season 0. You know, that's essentially
yeah.
what it is.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Because that putting that team, those two the entities, the Christopher Pike and number one, and bringing them into
Yeah.
Discovery, I would have never thought that it would have worked as well as it did. To me,
Yeah.
I truly am in love still. They have a strong affinity for Discovery. But I'm just saying, it's easy to look
It's
away when you see pretty old
Stranger
Strange New
World.
Things,
Yeah.
Strange New Worlds coming down the street.
And I want more of that synergy that they got from season 2 of Discovery. We need that synergy across all new Trek.
Yeah,
It doesn't
they,
have to be every episode. It doesn't have to be for a full season. But you need to sprinkle in that synergy somehow
they
between the
exist in
different
the
series.
same world, right?
Yes. And that's
But
something you have to give the 90s Trek huge credit. They did MCU before MCU did MCU.
yeah,
They created a
yeah,
cohesive universe, several television shows running at the same time, including movies that all were the same universe and
they had little
worked
tie-ins every
together.
now and then.
Yes, certainly.
Motion pictures, and of course, I got them grouped by which franchise or which part of the franchise they belong in. So the original series motion pictures are in our first box. Uh, Star Trek. I hope I got them all. Star Trek: The Motion Picture, The Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock. Which one is your first category there? Which one is your favorite?
uh, it has to be the Wrath of Khan. I think
Yeah,
it what kept the rest of the movies going. If it would
yeah.
have been bad, we wouldn't have got it anymore.
So okay, so many people like what is the other one? Voyage Home?
The
Is that the
Voyage
one
Home, I
with
think people like.
yeah, the one
The,
that people like the
the,
most in as far as the entire fandom. I think a lot of people point to that one. But yeah, the Wrath of Khan was the one for me.
yep, yep, love it.
What about the Star Trek TNG era?
I actually really like Generations, even though people curse it because it killed. Spoiler: it kills Kirk. But it has both of the crews in it. It was
I was about to say,
the
should that be
passing.
overlap? That should have been in both, like an overlap in both of
Yeah,
them.
but there was a passing of the baton, so to speak. So I really love that as a movie. You get to see, wow, Patrick Stewart get in there and really. This is the start of his kick butt phase,
Yeah,
where he like goes more from the passive. I'm gonna stay on the bridge guy. I'll be in my ready room guy to I'm going out there and do action stuff, which we see that kind of follow through in all of the movies. So
right.
yeah, I thought it was a good handoff to the TNG crew. If there was anybody that didn't really believe in this crew before they saw any TNG, this was the movie to kind of pass the baton. And oh, go watch some TNG now because they're awesome too. They're part of the same world. It's not
Yeah,
another show.
yeah. They are the same in the same family.
Yes.
I don't know if I don't remember most of these movies, and it's all that's a me thing. I could have only watched them once because I don't remember. Just like every time you guys say something, when we are having our deep conversations and we're looking for a connection to this or that, I always miss the connections to that
Mm.
group of movies. And I know now I need to go back and really just watch them because I don't remember. I don't remember plot points. I don't remember anything about these movies.
Yeah,
And that's
I think.
bad.
Well, I think I remember. I think the TOS movies I remember less about, but the other ones I remember a lot more about. First Contact. I know the board coming back, and we're the first warp flight, Zephyr
Right.
Cochrane. So that's one to remember. Insurrection is kind of forgettable. Nemesis, you had Shinzon, Tom Hardy coming in to play a
I
young
remember
Jean-Luc Picard.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah, yeah. So that was a good one for me as well. Even though a lot of people hate that one too.
Hmm.
But
So I
yeah, and
know
then the
I need
Abrams.
to revisit.
Yeah, yeah, certainly. I love all those movies. I need to go back and watch the TOS movies because those are the ones I haven't watched the most. So I need to go back and get caught up on those again, or get reacquainted, I should say.
Then we got the Kelvin universe. And look, I know people are not really keen on the Kelvin universe, but I liked those movies. I didn't find anything wrong with them. And Star Trek Into Darkness, but of course, I am a Benedict Cumberbatch girl. So that would be the one that I like the most, even though
Yeah,
I'm an Idris girl too, but we didn't get to see him like that. But I liked Benedict Cumberbatch as Khan in Into Darkness. So that is my pick out of the newer things. What you got?
yeah. I think Star Trek 2009 is almost a perfect movie. This movie really showcased what J.J. Abrams and Bad Robot can do to a franchise, and I credit them for even just being able to successfully keep this in the same universe, kind of spin it off. It all
Right.
connects and introduce a crew that people, if they didn't accept TNG, how are they going to accept the whole other group of people playing their beloved characters? And they
Yeah.
successfully do it. It's really remarkable what they did in that movie. I remember walking out of Star Trek Into Darkness and saying, "This is the best Star Wars movie I've ever seen," because it felt like a Star Wars movie. It doesn't feel like, to me, it didn't feel like a Star Trek movie. But they're trying to redo the whole kind of thing. It was fine. Same thing with Star Trek Beyond. I thought all of those were solid movies. Were they exactly like I would have liked? Maybe not, but I do really love them. And think they're great movies. And hopefully we can get a fourth from that crew. Of course, Anton Yelchin isn't here, but who knows? Who knows?
Right. Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong thing over here. Lord. The animated spinoffs. It's really easy because I still have not watched the animated series, the original animated series. So I can't even talk about that one. You've watched it?
I've seen a few episodes,
Okay.
and my story about this one is don't go back and watch it with the view of, oh, this is just them either cashing or just doing something that's not really what we think Trek is, or it's just kind of stupid, kind of clumsy. I heard firsthand from Lee Shackelford, which is a huge Trekkie slash even wrote for TNG a little bit. He was a writer there, but he told me this is part of what kept Trek in his consciousness when Trek wasn't around. This is something they did. It brought back the original cast doing the acting for it, and it was the Trek that kind of was there and that they kind of dove into when again there was nothing else for them to dive into. So it
I
gives me a
get it.
different respect on it. Now I need to
Mhm.
go back and watch it myself, but it does give me a different view of
Lee
what it
Shackelford
was at the
always
time.
makes me think. I'm like, dude, why you always, just when I'm ready to beat this thing up, then you make me think, sir. Every time I
Yeah,
hear him on
certainly.
you guys, yeah, he's he's one that'll make you think, and it does change things because but Saturday mornings was a real busy time for me back then. We was going outside. We had to clean up when as soon as that R&B music started in the
Yeah,
living room. We got to clean the house. Then we get kicked out the house. I don't think I ever was forced to watch one of these animated series. If I
yeah.
was forced, like my mom, like they did with me with the original series, I probably would have watched it. But at that point, Mama was trying to get me to leave. She was all I want to smell is Pledge and Pine Sol, and then I want y'all out my house.
That's funny.
So yeah, but of course it's not hard to pick uh my favorite out of this. And I've already said that I think Prodigy was the series to beat. Period. Last year,
Yeah.
that was my series of 2022, and just the end of it just didn't change things for me. It is just well done, beautifully executed family television. So
Yeah, certainly an example of Trek punching. In this case, I think punching up. Instead of, because this is a kid show. It's not it. There's no reason it should be this good. There's really no reason, and the way they're able to tie in to all our Voyager fans out there, they're able to tie into Voyager so intricately. Bring in Kate McGrew, bring in different characters from Voyager, and extend that further.
Mhm.
It's just beautifully done, and yeah, the Hagmans they're awesome. They're awesome.
Yeah, yeah, they are new they are royalty right now. Trek
Yes.
royalty. So if that's an easy conversation. Lower decks. Look, it's not terrible, but it's not what I wanted. However, I know that these series are not made for me. These are the types of series that are made to draw in new people. And I have seen online and in social medias where some people, the only Star Trek they watch is Lower Decks. And if that's what we wanted, if we wanted to get a new foothold with a new audience, then they've done that. I'm a little
Hmm.
afraid of because the Rick and Morty guy. He got in a little trouble, didn't he?
Did he?
One of the people from Rick and Morty, something happened. Let me see.
Oh well, yeah, yeah. That was the I think the voice actor for Rick and Morty got in. I don't know if it's the same guy, but I think he got in some
Okay,
kind of trouble. I don't know what it
okay, so it
was.
was just a voice actor. I, let me see. Oh no, it's the creator, co-creator.
Hmm.
Co-creator has some kind of abuse allegations, domestic violence charges. So yeah, he I guess he's out, but but as far as the rest of yeah, lower decks, I guess eh, I could take it or leave it. I
Well,
don't have to watch it.
and my thing is Lord Dex is it doesn't. I wish it was just something separate, and we said it was something separate. The fact that they said it's in canon, I feel like it's in canon to a certain extent. I don't think it affects anything else in the universe, but we can bring things from the universe into it. I think
Yeah.
that's how canon it is. Now, of course, we have a crossover coming where two of the Lower Decks people, Tawny Newsom and Jack Quaid, are going to be on an episode of a comedy episode, mind you, of the Strange New Worlds
Uh,
in the upcoming season. Lord knows what's going to go on there, but uh, I don't know. I'm just not a Lord
I
X
guess the
person.
only thing, yeah, I mean, I'm not, but I guess I'm like when I start to think of it from the standpoint, this is not one of the flagships. This is not a ship
Yeah,
that is going to be going out and doing important missions. This is just somebody that y'all got to just take care of little things, and maybe they would fall off so much as they don't have to
yeah,
be as haughty and stuffy as one of the more elite ships because
this is
nobody is
true.
expecting anything from them anyway.
Yeah,
But it is such a disconnect from seeing the crew of the Enterprise, seeing the crew of Voyager. Even when Voyager was lost, they were still trying to uphold these values, and now you got lower decks. This crew, the Cerritos, just like they are slackers, and
yeah,
that's what's hard for me to embrace about the show.
yeah. Interesting take. But I think for me, just to not to belabor this, as it was a little more clever in its execution. If
Hmm.
it felt more clever, and they could be silly and do all the crap they want, but if it was clever in its execution, I would still be like, okay, I get it. But from a Ricky Morty point of view, that show is clever. This one, I don't
Not
know.
so much. Not so much. But yeah, I'm gonna. And every year I say I'm not gonna watch the next season, but I'm gonna watch the next. I can't help
Yeah,
but
I'm going
watch
to
it.
watch it. I'm going to
Yeah.
watch it.
Oh, you know what I missed? I had it in the wrong order or something. Let me see. What? What how did I miss that? Where did it go? I lost it. I've got a slide over here that I don't have over there.
Uh
Social
oh.
commentary. Um, Let that be your last battlefield. What do you know about that episode of Trek? Let me. Do you? It's an original series episode.
Help me out here.
That is the one where you had people that were black on one
Oh,
side and white on the
yeah, yeah,
other,
yeah. Yes, yes, yes,
and
yes.
Kirk couldn't understand why these people were fighting. He finally asked him at the end, and he was like, "He's clearly black on one on the right, left on the white on the left." And you can see the anger in Kirk's face. He's like, "Why? If that's not the dumbest thing to be fighting about." But that is one that had social commentary way back in the day. The Measure of a Man.
Oh, certainly,
Oh
certainly.
yeah, that was. Now I got Harbinger on here from Deep Space Nine, and I don't even remember. What I didn't do is write down the descriptions. So let me look at
Yeah.
Harbinger DS9.
Let's see here.
This is
Yes, it
this
sounds
is
like it's
the
a game.
game stuff.
Yeah, I didn't play that.
That was me picking stuff up off the internet. But the other DS9 is In the Pale Moonlight.
Oh yeah,
That was a good one.
yeah. That's intense.
Yeah.
Intense.
The drumhead from Star Trek: The Next Generation. You remember that
Yep.
one? That was beautiful.
Yeah.
I did not like that lady. The host from the Next Generation, that kind of, to me, put me in like what the commentary that I believe is she Crusher had fallen in love with that Trill delegate that came onto the Enterprise, and then he got injured or sick or whatever, and they had to take the
And
symbiote
Riker.
out of him and put it in the Riker. Just
Yeah.
hold it for a minute. And then Riker now is taking on the personality of this host. I mean, of this. You know what word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
And the symbiote.
Yeah.
And then he's still trying to be with Crusher. So to
That one
me,
threw me off. It threw me off.
yeah. So what is it? I mean, I guess the answer or the question is love love, or is love what the entire package, or is love the what's inside of that person? Is because she loved the symbiote. She
Yeah.
couldn't get over it once she started seeing Riker's face, and I guess that would be creepy. You friends with somebody and all of a sudden,
Very creepy.
but
It was creepy to watch.
yeah, that would be a little, I guess it would be a
But
little
to make you
cringy.
think, it's a good thought exercise
Yeah,
to, you know.
because she couldn't do it. She was like, no, can't even do it. Oh gosh. The Outcast, Star Trek: The Next Generation.
The Outcast. Help me out. What goes on the Outcast?
I
Is
gotta
that
look
the
it up.
one? Let's see.
Outcast was
Oh
it
yeah, that's the one when
the
when
Borg was?
Riker likes the lady that, well, it's not a
Oh
lady, the
yeah,
non-binary race.
you would think that I would remember
Yeah.
that. Just how long ago I put this list together, but yeah, that's perfect for today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect. They did the whole gender reaffirmation or whatever they call it, gender confirming therapy they did on her. So yeah, all of that kind of fits into where we are right now.
Yeah, that's a
The
good one.
Cloud Minders from the original series. This was a weird episode to me, even back
Cloud
then. That was the one
Minders.
where those people, the Stratos people, lived in the clouds, in the city on the clouds, and they had the other people that were just mining for this whatever this mineral was that they needed. They called them troglodytes or troglytes or something like that. But yeah, there was just they were the same. They were just one. They were being oppressed. The troglytes or trog whatever the name of that other species was. It was something like that. Let me see. Cloud minders. I don't know what just happened here. I kind of hate. Here it is. Kirk and Spock are caught up in a revolution on a planet where intellectuals and artists live on a utopian city in the sky, while the rest of the population mines, toils and mines on the barren surface.
Yeah, I'm not
It was
familiar with that particular episode.
it's weird. That's probably one that I wouldn't mind doing a review on, like
Hmm.
to sit and just of where we are right now with this with that thinking, where one part of the and I'm stuck. I think my okay, one part of the people are because they have book knowledge, because they're smart, or because they have a talent, they are above everybody else. And I mean that's just like right
Yeah,
now.
on the nose. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was an original series episode, so that it keeps being relevant.
Oh
The
man, that reminds me
Maquis,
of that. That reminds me of that Matt Damon movie. That's kind of the same thing. What is it called? Where like everybody
the
is living. You know what I'm talking about? It's a Matt Damon movie where. Oh, okay. I won't get. I'll look for it while you talk.
was he a was it the one when he was a con man?
No, no,
Was
no. It
it
was one.
not the talented Mr. Ripley?
No, definitely not that one. I'll look it up while you.
Oh,
It's on the tip
okay.
of my tongue.
So we got the Maquis. That was Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode, and past tense, of course, past tense. Deep Space Nine.
Yes.
Yeah, resolutions from Voyager. I had to find one. Demons from Enterprise, and what's past is prologue from Discovery. Even though Discovery just their entire cast and the
Yeah.
choices that they make like that are is social commentary. So yeah, you find it.
No, I have not. Elysium is the movie I'm thinking
I
about.
haven't seen that.
Yeah, but it's kind of the same thing where the elites are living higher than everybody else. It might be a spaceport or something they're living in, but it's like above the you know, uh, Earth that's in pretty much turmoil at the time. It's an okay
Okay,
movie.
it's on Peacock too. I can watch that.
Now don't
Okay.
watch it and get mad at me if it's bad. I can't.
I mean,
I
you
can't
ain't tell
remember all the
me.
details.
You said it was yeah. You didn't recommend it. You just oh gosh. So yeah, the social commentary, and then finally, last but not least, is what's next. As soon as I
Mm,
find a way, there we are. What's next in Trek? Now we know that this is the quote unquote final season of Picard. Um, I got a feeling that we'll see something else happen with a lot of or some of that crew at least. What are you thinking about? We got that coming on the 17th as well or 16th, right?
yeah. You saying what happens after Picard, or what will
Or
happen
do
in
you
the
think this is because there's been a lot of hinting and winking that this might
that?
not be the final season. So what are you thinking?
I think it may be the final season of Star Trek Picard proper. I
Mm-hmm.
think we will see because again, I think this is the perfect opportunity in what I said 2401, 2404, wherever
Mm-hmm.
we are, to pull everybody from the 90s forward in some capacity. Um, my dream project is that we'd have like an anthology series where we just have these stories that aren't really all about a certain group of people, or but we can have a story where just one person here. Let's catch up on Ezra Dax here. Let's all these stories we're just catching up on a particular sort of like the short tricks that they had,
Yeah.
but full maybe 1 episode or 2 episode arcs where it's like anthology style, where we
Mm-hmm.
kind of just talk about these characters. Because to me, Picard, these 3 seasons is just like a jumping off point to bring each and every one of the 90s characters back into play somehow.
Right, and it doesn't have to be an entire series.
Yes,
You
yes,
could just
certainly.
you could tell these stories in a bottle, pretty much.
Yeah, certainly, certainly. I think
Okay,
people
so
eat that up.
yep, and well, hopefully this final season of Picard does it for us, man.
Yeah, and and the thing is, from Picard, I haven't hated, but I haven't particularly loved what they've done in the first 2 seasons. There's been aspects that were really amazing. I think
Hmm.
the first season started off very, very strong, but then I still have unanswered questions like, what are these future synth aliens? Will we get a
Right,
resolution on that?
right,
In the season 2, we have the whole Borg Girardi thing.
right.
Is that going to be no implications to that?
Just
So
yep, that happened.
yeah,
Now
so
that's where it would come in handy when you're talking about the like your idea of the next time we see some of these characters will be anthology style.
yeah,
That would if they were to bring these threads over into something like that, that would to me help tie things up, and it'll be and make things cohesive.
yeah, because you might not be able to get Avery Brooks to come in for an entire season, or he might not want to just show up to show his face in 10 seconds in an episode. But if you said, okay, we're gonna do like a 90-minute feature with you,
Hmm.
anthology style, and that'll be it. Then you can go about your day. He
Right,
might do that, you know.
right. Thank you for your help, sir.
Yeah.
um Discovery season 5. I'm waiting on a date. Have you heard anything?
I don't have a date for it. I haven't heard anything about that. Season 5 looks exciting, but each of those seasons have looked exciting. I'm gonna piggyback off what you said earlier. Every subsequent season of every series should be looking at Strange New Worlds and saying, what can we do to be more like that?
Hmm.
Um, it's just character building, self-contained episodes. It doesn't even have to be self-contained episodes, but I think you have to try to get as much toward that, even if you're going to do these arcs, which they do that a little bit already. They do have these self-contained things, but it doesn't seem as fruitful as it did in Strange New Worlds. So season 5 of Discovery, I have no idea what to expect.
You don't know when it's
I,
coming.
it's going to be our first full season of Captain Burnham, or second? Our
Yes,
second full
exactly.
season.
She was
Yeah.
a she was captain for the full
She was.
season last year,
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah, she was. Wow, that's sad that I don't remember all this.
she?
I
Yeah, and
hope
we.
book. Go ahead.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
You will say something about book? Go ahead.
No, I said I hope Book isn't there the entire time. I want to see him
Uh-huh.
there, but he needs to go away for a little bit and let
I
her be a
agree.
captain.
Hmm.
And really, I just don't know what to expect from the next season. I really don't. They have to do something interesting, but I don't know what that is. I
The
just don't have a clue.
the one thing that I'm hoping that we get out of this is less focus on Burnham, because
Mm,
I can't think of an episode where she wasn't somehow central to what was going on. Maybe if there were one or two over these past 4 years, 4 seasons, most of them was this is the Burnham show. And while I love Sonequa Martin Green and I love the character of Michael Burnham, we don't know about any of the other ones, and that becomes now you're sacrificing their growth or an arc from anybody else to just be following Burnham. And I don't think we've ever
yeah.
seen that in another Star Trek.
Yeah, certainly. I totally agree with that. And even in the concept of Doctor Who, we have these things called Doctor Light episodes.
Hmm.
And that's where you might see the Doctor for like a minute and you might see him at the end, but the whole episode may be about him, but you might not see him the whole episode, and his name is in the title, the
Right.
Doctor
He
Who.
is
So I do think we need to have at least 2 or 3 episodes where we're not focusing primarily on Burnham. Let's take an episode to go over here and see what Tilly has been doing with the
right,
Starfleet Academy or whatever before she comes back. Let's
right.
take let's go in these different corners and explore that, then come back to the main reason for the season. The arc of
You
the
know what?
season.
Yeah, the only ones I could think of was when we were saying our bye bye to Michelle Yeoh when she was
Yes,
now
yes,
that to me it was interesting. It was well done. I didn't like the
and we
first
loved it.
episode without the second episode, but
Yeah,
once we put it all together, that was fantastic.
yeah. It was Burnham Light, and we loved it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, some more of
Okay.
those, I guess.
Lower Decks we talked about. We don't have to talk about season 4. I don't even remember how season 3 really ended. And I'm serious. I don't. And I'm not going to watch this again. So that's one that I'm just not even going to lie to you or anybody that's listening. I'm not watching it again. So okay, season 2 of Strange New Worlds. Now that I'm looking forward to, and like you said, I guess I will see some lower decks
Yeah,
characters in it, but I can deal with that because the character acting is not what's bad with that show to me. So
yeah,
uh what's your I guess we already talked about how Strange New Worlds is something that we're
yeah.
looking forward to.
I don't know if I have any predictions. I guess we're going to see just as we get closer and closer to Pike meeting his destiny. We'll continue to see how that weighs on him. And they talked about that a lot in this season.
Hmm.
Again, more of that. We're going to see what happens to number one being
Yeah.
a augment and see how
Hmm.
that plays out. So we're going to have some interesting stuff kind of set up to kick the season off that we can get into.
And then we got season 2 of Prodigy as well. And speaking of augments, we've got an augment there. So wow.
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. I don't, like you say, don't know what to expect. We're going to probably get far more Chakotay in Prodigy season 2. Um, I'm hoping that we get some kind of comeback from the hologram Janeway. I wasn't ready to let her go.
yeah. That was sad. That was sad.
And Gwendala, we get to maybe go on a side quest with her to go back to her home world and try to prevent all of what we saw happening. Now, if she went back and prevented it, would it change? Yeah, see, you already know where I'm going.
Oh,
How
you're gonna
much would
hurt my
change?
brain. You're gonna
And
hurt
it's
my
gonna
brain
hurt
with this
mine
one.
too. Yeah, I don't want to think about it, but I'm forced to think about it. Like, if she changes that, then that means at some point her father never went back into
But
time, and the other chick didn't, whatever her name, the Vindicator, she didn't. That's gonna hurt my head.
but I think in Star Trek, once you time travel, you're locked in that period you
So
go
that
to.
that's not a alternate thread.
I think other than the Kelvin verse, which they changed it to be alternate, but in area of the instance, I don't because there's no instance of people being like Marty McFly and just disappearing when something doesn't happen. I don't think. I think once you go to the past, you're like locked in that timeline. So I think what has happened is happened. You can't change it. Well, you can change your future. You can't change the past
So,
coming back to your
oh my goodness.
present. My head hurts. Let's talk about
Yeah, I think about Rios, and I think about him being loose in
yeah.
yeah. See, that's gonna bother me too. But okay,
Oh
Starfleet
man.
Academy is something that could be happening, right?
Yes.
Well, they're saying it could be. Or the show, okay, Seven and Raffi is something that I think might happen. It's not been announced anywhere. It's just it looks like that's where they might be ready to go.
Or Star Trek 7.
Mhm. That a film. They've been talking about a film. They've
I
been
don't know
threatening
about
a
film.
film.
What do you think about Star Trek in films going forward?
Um,
I, I was again talking that Paramount Plus is a place you have to go other than Tubi or whatever.
mhm.
To watch Star Trek, you have to be focused to come to watch Star Trek. Other than Nickelodeon and Tubi, how do you bring people in that don't know what's going on in the current state of Trek? You need it for marketing, don't
Right.
you? To
Yeah,
have
exactly.
something
Well,
else out there.
to me, if they were to, if they want to make a film and they want to bring in new viewers, they want to bring in a wider audience besides just us who are going anyway, right? They're gonna have to. The marketing will have to be off the chain. They have to come out with like not just a trailer, a bombastic trailer that will make
Yeah,
somebody who never watched Star Trek in their life say, "This is a movie I have to see." And
yeah,
while we have gotten good, decent movies, we haven't gotten one that says, "I have to go see that movie." You know,
yeah.
when there are movies like with me, when my son is not a Trekkie, but he's my movie buddy until he got this girlfriend, and that's a whole different story. So anyway, um, he won't go. He like, yeah, I'll sit that one up now. I'll sit this one out. You know, if he
Mm,
says he'll sit it out, it's because he hasn't been impressed by anything that he saw in the marketing. I use him as a litmus test. If he says before I ask him, it was like Puss in Boots. Now I couldn't go, but he was like, you rolling the Puss in Boots with me? That something spoke to him about that movie, because he don't
uh-huh.
ever do that, So
Yeah.
um, it would have to have something. Just it would have to be an over the top trailer that would draw people in.
Yeah. I also feel like it's not even a fact of going out and breaking records or breaking box office records for Star Trek at this point. I think it's just being in the social consciousness of everybody out there that are consuming entertainment. I my idea would be to first I would love a spinoff or another movie in the Abrams verse, the Kelvin verse,
Uh-huh.
another movie in that, and I also would want them. And I don't know what the idea is, but I want something that you don't know is Trek until you go in there and start watching it. That would
Hmm.
be a hard feat to do, but make a movie just so good and
Yeah,
then by the end of it, you find out, oh, this is in the
it's
Trek universe or
all in the
something,
Trek
something
universe.
like that.
And
Yeah,
that's what I mean. It's got to shake things up. It cannot just ride on the Star Trek name because there are so many people. Yeah, you got us again.
yeah,
But we're not gonna be the only people that you want to be in the movies. You want
yeah,
a general audience. My thought would be, and this is why I saved Section 31 for the last thing. Right now, the bankability of Michelle Yeoh.
yep,
First and
yeah.
foremost, do we even think we're going to get Michelle Yeoh in the Section 31 series?
Was it talking about the lady that just was nominated for Best Actress?
Yeah, that same lady
Uh,
that won a Golden Globe already. That same lady, Critics' Choice Award.
it's well. First, I'll say it's highly unlikely that, in my opinion, that she would come back, especially after her recent popularity.
Mhm.
But I'll say also say that if you go to Netflix and search Michelle Yeoh, there's a bunch of movies and projects, TV shows that she pops up in that you would not expect Michelle Yeoh to be in.
Mhm.
So by that token, I think there's a possibility she'll come back to Star Trek.
I mean,
It,
do
it
we think she's still under some type of contract?
I don't think she's on her contract right now. I think she would have already come back if she was, or even spoken about it. I think I think that it's on the table. They're exploring pre-production or whatever to see if they can make it work. But I don't think she signed anything to come back
Mhm.
at this point.
Because
Um,
as soon as she won that Golden Globe, Paramount put out their little yes, our Section 31 series is still in the works. But
oh,
they
they get
never
on my
said
nerves.
with Michelle Yeoh. They said the Section 31 series, or at least I don't think they said it. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But they definitely was like, oh, let's ride on the coattails of this. We know that everybody expects to see Michelle Yeoh in that series, and we can drum up some attention for ourselves with her win. But yeah, that's why I waited for last with her, because
Yeah, I
if
think
you
it's more
want to put
likely that we'll. I think it's more likely that we'll see Shazad Latif and Mary Sheffo. Is it Sheffo?
mm-hmm.
In their helming the series, and she might pop in. You know,
Right,
Michelle, you might pop in every now and then. But I don't.
she's got a busy schedule
Yeah,
coming up.
yeah. But they may do the movie. They may just do a movie, a 90-minute, 2-hour movie probably, and that'll be it. You know, that might be all they need from her, and she can drop in whenever she wants to and do these movies in Section 31. Especially if you can somehow add the time element, which
Mm-hmm.
the the Forever Gate and the wow, what's the
Uh-huh.
entity's name?
Carl.
Yeah, Carl. But if you add time travel into the Section 31 element, I think it would be interesting to see her traveling through different timelines and
Yeah,
fixing things. That would be
right.
my ploy to bring her back.
Because that it would also it could tie back again to what we were just laughing at, Rios. If she moved
Mhm.
around in time, we've already left a person someplace they had no business being. Would
Yeah.
she be like, okay, this is the person that's not supposed to be there?
Oh,
And
TVA style.
exactly,
I like it.
exactly. And she again, right now, if you've got her name, if you've got her signature on anything that says that she got to give you one more something, this is the time to bank on her popularity, because she is on fire right now.
Yeah, but I almost wonder if that's what they're going to do with the Will Wheaton. I forget
Uh,
what group he
uh,
was. Some time group. I forgot what it was called.
yeah, I
Uh,
can't think of it either.
I wonder if that's what they're going to do with him and the Soji character going
Yeah,
forward.
because they did set that up, didn't they?
Yeah, they
That
did.
she was going
Again,
to run
another
with.
thing Picard set up that we might.
You know, yeah, they got some stuff that I didn't even think about. I wasn't thinking about the fact that they girl, you scared me. You about to give me a heart attack. This is all off on a tangent. My bedroom door used to squeak, and
Mm,
I put the oil on it because it would warn my grandson when I'm getting up out of the bed or something and leaving. As soon as he hear the door squeak, he goes off. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to fix this. Now every time they open the door and it doesn't squeak, I almost have a heart attack. These kids are trying to kill me in here.
oh man, that's funny.
Yeah. So back to what we're the, yeah, they set up a lot that I really wasn't thinking of, because that the Will Wheaton thing with Soji, that was a setup, and even the fact that they left Rios in the past could be setting up something else.
Yeah.
So yeah, we might get a lot of stuff coming off of or on the heels of Star Trek Picard, and I'm not mad at it.
Oh, me neither. Me
It
neither.
gives us a
Bring it
future
on.
to look up to.
Shake it up.
Yeah. Well, shoot, that really was all that I had. Is there anything else you add?
Um, no,
Subtract,
I
multiply,
think I
divide.
think we I think we covered everything I've been thinking about in Trek. Great questions. And
Eh,
yeah, they really made me think a lot because when we get something so good in Strange New Worlds and Prodigy, it really ups the ante for the other series. They have to bring their A game.
They're gonna have to.
Um,
There's no way that we can regress when you have this momentum, because last year Strange New Worlds was on fire. People were talking about that, and it wasn't just
yeah,
it wasn't just us. It wasn't just
yeah,
like big nerds or whatever for Star Trek. Yay. It was other people talking about how well written, how well directed, how well acted that series was. It was beautifully shot. Everything was beautiful about it. It was just well done, and you've got now an example of where to go tomorrow, whatever
Yeah.
tomorrow brings. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I want to know just lastly where, and we don't have answer to this, but where is Paramount going with the growth of Star Trek? Are they happy with the fans they have now? Like, what are they doing to grow the franchise other than spinoffs that are still on Paramount Plus?
Right.
Um, yeah, what are they doing there? I have seen some more merch, more Star Trek merch than I've seen in recent years in the last year or so pop up. So that's good. So
So maybe that
maybe they're
maybe
doing some
that's
things in the
gonna,
background.
what do we think is going to happen in there? And I know like this is going long, but what do you think is going to happen now that these they're merging this Showtime? Do you think they're going to leave our Star Trek, just leave it where it is, or are we going to have to get a Showtime subscription to be able to watch Trek? Because I'm not
I
playing with Paramount Plus with all of this.
Well, for last I heard, it's going to be Paramount Plus with Showtime, and I don't know if that's going to be another tier that you have to pay another $5 whatever to actually see the Showtime shows.
Let me see.
But I I don't really even know what the tentpole show is on Showtime. I really don't.
The Yellowstone. Well, no, that's on the Paramount Plus.
Yeah, that's on Paramount Network. I
Yeah,
think
I don't know
Yellowstone.
what Showtime has going for it.
Yeah. So as long as Trek remains at the forefront, I'm fine with whatever they do because I don't want them to give it a backseat.
The soap is in the bathroom.
Yeah, I don't want them to give Star Trek a backseat to anything else. So
Right. So
hopefully it remains at the forefront.
it should be the one of the top priorities. I know Yellowstone's been knocking it out the park and all of that stuff. But as far as tried and true, it should be Star Trek, you know. And I'm trying to see what Paramount Plus and Showtime remove shows following merger. Now,
Uh
see,
oh.
uh,
What?
I hope this is not behind a paywall. The newly dubbed Paramount Plus with Showtime is HBOing some more shows. That is to say,
Oh no.
additional titles are on the chopping block after the merger of the two companies launched on January 30th. Joe's Twilight Zone
Mm-mm.
reboot has been removed from Paramount Plus, along with the Real World Homecoming, Coyote, No Activity, Guilty Party, Interrogation, The Harper House. Okay, so it looks like we're safe right now. Because on the Showtime side of things, they removed Kidding, Super Pumped, and American Rust.
They're removing them.
They're taking some
That's
titles
interesting.
off.
Yeah, there's no reason to remove the Michael Keegan. Is it Michael Keegan or Jordan Peele's
Jordan Peele.
Twilight Zone? They had two seasons maybe that it was an
Yep.
original. So maybe there's some licensing deals in there
They
that
put it
don't
on
allow.
sci-fi.
Really? So they sold it off.
Hmm. Yep. It said sci-fi had previously picked up Twilight Zone. Airs on Wednesdays at 9. Um, Let
Yeah,
me
these
see.
are
The
old
service
shows that they're
itself
just dropping.
soft launched their partnership last year when they created a subscription bundle for both Showtime and Paramount Plus, but they were still marketed as separate services. With the latest news, the transition means Showtime's library, including Yellow Jackets and I Love That for You, is combining with the Paramount Plus streaming library and vice versa. Some Paramount
Mm.
Plus programs are also reportedly heading to the linear channel. They're going to make announcements at a town hall on February 23rd.
Uh
That's
oh.
after Picard starts, so they cannot be trying to do anything crazy with. They can't be trying to do anything crazy with it, and Picard is just starting.
Well, it makes you think though. What shows that we have in the Star Trek franchise that aren't doing well, and only they know that they have the streaming numbers. They know
Right.
who's been watching what. Um, so it kind of puts a bigger focus on what shows that may not be doing the best, and if they will remain on board. I mean, kind of some of the control is going away now. It seems like that they've
Mhm.
had in the past to just say Kirkman, we're doing this and we're doing this, and
Right.
of course all the trolls are saying it's going to get canceled. They've been saying it for
They've been
years,
saying it for
but
5 years. Yeah.
yeah. But now it seems like it depends on who's in control here, and that I don't know.
That's
It's kind of
it's
sad.
concerning. It's concerning, but I honestly believe that if they were going to do something that would make us have to, that would require the Star Trek fandom to have to pay more money or whatever, that they would definitely not do it in the middle of a season. I mean,
Yeah,
even though it's one episode in, I don't think they would do that, would they?
yeah. Well, I don't think they're going to make us pay more money. I don't think. I'm just scared about them canceling shows.
Yeah, and I don't
Um,
really want, I don't care about the Showtime aspect of things. So
Me neither.
plus is enough for me. And
Yep.
yeah, so hopefully, hopefully they don't try to go up on prices. They don't create another tier and make us, you know, do something crazy or whatever. But that's it, man. I appreciate you for hanging out with me. And hopefully, hopefully we get some big Trek news that maybe that will light things on fire and set the fandom straight again.
Yeah,
So
it's been fun. Thank you
it,
for inviting me on. I really enjoyed myself.
as always, we usually have good conversations when we do talk. So um, tell them how to find you. If we get anybody watching on the rebroadcast, where can they find
Yeah.
you?
You can find me by going to discussingtrek.com or searching for Discussing Trek on any of the podcasting platforms is where we can be found. Or you can also hit us up at Discussing Trek on any and all social medias. Yeah, we love to hear from you. Yeah.
And then, like I said, highly recommend. 2 thumbs up, sir.
Well, thank you. Same for you.
Thank you. And with all that, we have had fun today. That is the
Yeah.
state of our fandom. And maybe we can make this a yearly thing. We'll see you in the next one, though. Peace. And we are out.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.